Hello, I'm Eileen McHugh with the BBC News. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has warned that Israel's enemies will pay a price for aggression after a major rocket attack from southern Lebanon. The Israeli army says more than 30 rockets were launched. Most were shot down, but 6 landed on Israeli soil. Yolande Knell reports from Jerusalem.
This was the biggest rocket attack across Israel's disputed northern border since the 2006 Lebanon war. As the Security Cabinet met to weigh its response, Mr. Netanyahu promised Israel would strike its enemies. There's been outrage across the region at the violent scenes after Israeli police raided Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque for the past 2 nights during Ramadan. The third holiest site in Islam is also the holiest place for Jews, who call it Temple Mount and are celebrating Passover.
Israel has blamed the Palestinian militant group Hamas. Its chief, Ismail Haniyeh, who's in Lebanon, said Palestinians would not sit with their arms crossed in the face of Israeli aggression. Loud explosions have been heard across the Gaza Strip, where the Israeli army says it's launched retaliatory airstrikes on Hamas targets. There have been clashes between police and protesters in Paris during demonstrations against reforms to the pension system. This was the 11th day of protest against the pension changes. Hugh Schofield reports.
I can see fires burning, smoke billowing, movements of riot police through the crowd, followed by bottles flying. The statistics suggest that today has actually been a bit less successful than previous days. The numbers, according to the government, are down, and certainly in terms of disruption to public transport today, for example, it wasn't like it was before, which may suggest that this movement has peaked.
The White House has spoken out strongly against recent state bills restricting LGBTQ rights. Conservative lawmakers have recently led a wave of legislation targeting the rights of gay and transgender people in various states across the US. Measures include bans on discussion of gender identity in schools, bans on transgender medical procedures, and blocking transgender participation in sports. The Republican-controlled House of Representatives in the U.S. state of Tennessee has begun the process of expelling up to 3 Democratic members who took part in a gun control protest in the chamber last week. The House has already voted to expel Justin Jones. Votes on 2 others are expected to follow shortly. The White House Press Secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, criticised the vote.
The fact that this vote is happening is shocking, undemocratic, and without precedent. Across Tennessee and across America, our kids are paying the price for the actions of Republican lawmakers who continue to refuse to take action on stronger gun laws.
This is the World News from the BBC. The White House has published the highlights of a report which says little more could have been done to prevent the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, but admits the evacuation of Kabul should have begun earlier. The review blames the chaotic US withdrawal in August 2021 on a deal his predecessor, Donald Trump, did with the Taliban. But President Biden's national security spokesman, John Kirby, said the withdrawal was necessary.
The president's decision to end the war in Afghanistan was the right one. The United States had long ago accomplished its mission to remove from the battlefield the terrorist who attacked us on 9/11 and to degrade the terrorist threat to the United States from Afghanistan. And now, with that war over, we can more squarely address the most pressing challenges of our day. America is on a stronger strategic footing, more capable to support Ukraine and to meet our security commitments around the world, as well as the competition with China, because it is not fighting a ground war in Afghanistan.
Prosecutors in Russia have called for a 25-year jail sentence to be handed down to a prominent government critic. Vladimir Kara-Murza was charged with treason last year after he gave a series of speeches abroad condemning the invasion of Ukraine. Friends had warned him he risked arrest if he returned to Russia. However, Mr. Murza said he would have no right to call on other people to take action if he was safe elsewhere. A Japanese military helicopter that went missing off the coast of the southern region of Okinawa is thought to have crashed into the sea. The chopper had 10 people on board. Pro-democracy protests have been held in several parts of Sudan in a latest demonstration of anger at the continuing military rule. The protesters were also marking the anniversary of a 2019 sit-in that led to the overthrow of the former president, Omar al-Bashir. That's the latest BBC News.